All right, so today we're going to talk about why isn't my ISA converting Google pay-per-click leads? Common question. Let's break this down. The first thing that I want to touch on is you should have a process for every lead that enters your database. That obviously goes without saying. Our company policy for leads that enter a database really doesn't matter what the lead source is. It comes down to call, text, email, call. We're doing all of that in the span of if they don't pick up the phone, we're doing all that in the span of less than a minute. So we call them twice. If they don't pick up, while we're calling them, we're putting in a text template together, and then we're also sending out an email template. You should have all of your messaging templated. It's going to save you an enormous amount of time and allow you to have 3 to 5 times as many conversations. So once a new lead enters the database, call, text, email, call. There should be an action plan of some sort set up or a drip campaign set up. You can set that up in an automated fashion so it gets automatically applied. You can also set it up where, let's say like the first 2-3 days, you're just allowing your ISA to basically contact those leads manually. And then if nothing essentially happens from that ISA outreach, then you can set up a drip campaign to essentially automate some of that follow-up process. You have to have a process in place to deal with that. Otherwise, you're just not going to get results. Let's talk about essentially what happens when you actually get these people on the phone. The majority of these people are going to tell you some variation of no, not right now, not interested, and you have to be able to handle those objections in a reasonable way that doesn't feel scripted or salesy. You have to be able to handle those because that's going to be 90% of your responses. So the way that we personally go about doing this is as follows. Hey, hi, is this John? Yeah, this is John. Hey, John, this is Andy with ABC Realty here in San Antonio. Hey, I was calling about your recent website inquiry from the other day. It sounds like you may be in the market for a home. Is that correct? No, we're just looking right now. We're really not in the market for anything. Okay, hey, fair enough. I appreciate you sharing that. To be clear, most of the folks that I speak with on the phone, at least initially, they're minimum 1 to 2 years out from doing anything at all. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and I hear you loud and clear you're not doing anything today. That being said, would you be willing to tell me a little bit about what you might be in the market for when the timing is right? And you'll notice that none of that sounds scripted, but it's highly scripted because it's been internalized in practice over and over and over again. You have to be able to handle the objections, and if the only way that you're able to actually determine if the objections are being handled or not is if you are recording your phone calls. So, the phone calls have to be recorded. The answer is going to be in the phone call if you're having conversion problems. So, were you able to handle the objections properly? Are you actually helping that person solve their problem? What is their life event, right? They may not be doing it today, but what is causing them to want to do this in the future? Super important. So, ideally, you're able to handle the objection. You're able to, to find a life event. And when I'm talking about a life event, I'm talking about like getting married, having kids, job relocation. Ideally, you've found a life event. You've established rapport with them on the phone. You've let them know, like, hey, you're removing sales pressure. You know that they're not doing anything today. Ideally, you're making a concerted effort to plant a seed for the future, and that's really what the purpose of that initial phone call is. You have to be looking to plant a seed for the future. If you're not looking to plant a seed for the future, if all you're doing is looking to book an appointment, that's just not going to get you anywhere. Like, respectfully. You are only thinking about what's in it for them instead of thinking about what's in it for the prospect. That's on the initial call. Let's talk about the follow-up side of the equation. So the reality is, if we're talking about Google pay-per-click leads, the majority of those leads are going to be pretty top of the funnel to middle. I would say upper middle to top of the funnel, typically speaking. There's going to be a handful of leads that are absolutely ready to go today. And that's where, when you get them on the phone, everything that I just talked about is essentially applicable. But if they're not quite ready to go, then there's a follow-up process that needs to take place. So, if they're looking to buy a house, set them up on a property search, help them find exactly what they're looking for. Something that nobody really took me to the side and pointed this out to me when I first got started in real estate. So I found this out through a lot of trial and error, working as an ISA. You can actually speed up somebody's timeline quite a bit by just helping them find exactly what they're looking for, right? So what I mean by that is, let's say somebody's looking for a very particular property. It's like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath swimming pool on a cul-de-sac, right? So if I actually help them find exactly what they're looking for, even though their time frame is, I don't know, a year out, give or take, but they find exactly what they're looking for, and then they want to go see that property, well, it's like all of a sudden FOMO kicks in. Like, are we actually going to find anything that's better than this, right? And then they started asking themselves, well, why not just pull the trigger right now? So, you can quickly take somebody from a year out to 6 months out to 3 months out to purchasing today if you're helping them find exactly what they're looking for. That's on the buy side. If they're looking to sell a property, you really need to identify very quickly, how much are they looking to get for the property? I think that's first and foremost. And then, try to, again, identify, is there a life event, right? And if they do have a life event, that's a great reason for you to ask if you'd like to come out and actually take a look at the property. The point that I want to make with the longer term follow-up is, like, if you've identified a life event, then you really need to set a task and just be consistent about following up with that person in the future. And so something that I realized when we started training ISAs is that a lot of ISAs don't know how to have that follow-up call. Like, what does that follow-up call even sound like? So I'll give you a very clear example. Hi, John? Yeah, this is John. Hey, John, this is Andy Cole with ABC Realty. Hey, we spoke about a month ago about your home search here in the San Antonio area. I know you guys were looking in the, in the downtown San Antonio area. I know you guys are not doing anything at least for 6 months, but the reason why I was reaching out, there was actually a property that I think was a pretty good fit for you guys. It recently hit the market. Wanted to make sure you at least saw it, and it's over on 123 Main Street. I'll text it over to you right now. Take a look at it. Let me know if you'd like to maybe go take a look at it. So that's a very soft touch way. Like, I'm acknowledging the objection, right? So the objection is they're not doing anything for at least 6 months. I'm acknowledging that up front. And I'm basically letting them know, like, hey, I know you're not doing this, but I'm still working for you, and I'm keeping tabs on what's going on in the market right now, right? So that's what that follow-up call is going to sound like, and just, light touch. Hey, I'm here if you need me. I know you guys are not doing anything right now, but I'm here if you need me, right? And that's what the consumer is looking for. They're looking for somebody that's on the ball, professional, bringing something to the table. If you don't bring something to your phone calls, you're just not going to be successful, right? And so that for us is how we go about following up with Google pay-per-click leads. If you're having trouble converting these leads, keep in mind the conversion percentage, like the average conversion percentage for Google pay-per-click leads, I think it's like 1%. I don't know how they're even collecting that data in the first place. That seems like a very tough number to collect data from. Like are they in everybody's CRM checking this stuff? I have no idea, honestly. But just keep that in mind. You need to generate a lot of leads for this to actually work. But I come back to what I said. The business that we're in is the problem-solving business. And if you get somebody on the phone and you can identify that they've got a problem, and for us a problem is a life event, then that's somebody that you want to consistently follow up with over time. Light touch, help them find exactly what it is that they're looking for, solve their problems, and that's how you're going to be successful. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. If you have a topic that you'd like me to riff on for a little bit, drop it in the comments below and I'll make a video about it. Thanks. Peace.